Fast forward to the generation now, my children's generation, maybe younger, there is a high level of what we call disposable wealth at their hands. And even though there is disposable wealth available, what we have seen in some cases, unfortunately, is a level of reckless behavior. Even though they have these funds available, a greater opportunity to invest into their community, a greater opportunity to invest for themselves and their future generations. Whereas the communities and the generations that preceded were careful where their money went, they made sure that a pound went that extra mile. We see people spending money very freely, very openly, especially since we moved away from the cash system and more onto the credit and electronic system. Money is spent on, on a whim, on cups of coffee, on items, and we see, unfortunately, our bins are full of items, food items, clothing that we've only worn once and we don't like. And you're starting to see this disregard for wealth. You're starting to see this having a low value of it, not kind of valuing it as it should be, not considering what good use one can put it to. And this, obviously, this disregard for wealth, this holding wealth of little value and spending it worse than spending, one spends water, is something which stands in contradiction to religious principles, religious matters, those which Islam is there to promote, which is that absolutely if a person is in a position to earn good money, if a person is in a position to earn wealth, so they should do so. However, when it comes to how it is spent, then one has to be utterly careful. So it's not just about where we earn that money from, but also where we spend that money and how we spend that money. So if we're spending that money carefully, ensuring that we're checking where we're buying, what is the actual purpose, what am I gaining from spending this money? What am I trying to achieve? What's my niyyah? What's my objective? Then at least there is some thought and consideration going into it without this sort of lack of value, carefree attitude, kind of living in that kind of credit mindset that I can always borrow, and putting oneself under unsurmountable debt. And in essence, don't even care where a person would be to pay later. Because what that does is when a person is kind of tied in with these financial relationships, with these financial constraints, then what happens is that person can't do what they want to do later on in life. Because they're now expected to earn a certain amount of money.